Hello, everyone. Welcome to Laser Focus. This is the Deep Dive Pop Culture Podcast from Nerdist. I'm Kyle Anderson. Thank you for listening. Folks, I don't know about you. This year has felt really, this being 2025, of course, we're right at the end, has felt kind of weird in that there were things that I enjoyed, movie and TV wise, but I was kind of like tepid on most stuff. And so instead of doing our what we've done the last couple of years, which is look back and like the top 10 or top, movies and TV shows, we all kind of have already talked about the ones that we liked. We've had full episodes about most of those already. Andor, Peacemaker, Superman. These are all things we enjoyed. I thought we would look forward to what we're looking forward to in 2026. And so we've put together a list of, as far as we know so far, movies and TV shows that are coming out, either new seasons or brand new shows, and then also movies and sequels and things like that. And so my panel and I have chosen our lists, and we're going to go through and talk about ones we're most excited about. Joining me on the show are regulars to Laser Focus. You know them, you enjoy them. They're my coworkers, Ro Rusek, editor-in-chief of Nerdist.com, and longtime Nerdist staff writer Eric Diaz. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Before we get into the next, what we're going to talk about for next year, if you had to name your favorite movie and favorite TV show of 2025, what would they be? Just briefly. I know we didn't prepare for this part, but.
I really enjoyed Sinners, and I enjoyed him a lot. At the movie theater, and Wicked for Good was pretty good. It wasn't as good as Wicked Part 1, but I had a nice time. I feel like it was kind of a quiet year for me personally, TV show wise, but I feel like that comes in waves as we're going to discuss, and my greatest hits are coming up as opposed to
this was
already happened.
This is the off year. Yeah, it's all even numbered years for you.
For me, yes.
What about you, Eric?
I have to probably say Sinners too. It was such a surprise. We didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't have been a surprise, but like it was. It wasn't something anyone knew was going to be as good as it was. And Superman, because it's like the rebirth of DC into something I want. Like.
Yeah.
And TV wise, I'm loving it. Welcome to Derry. Ty and I, every time we watch a screener, we just commiserate. We're like, this show rules.
Yeah.
We're like, this show goes there. Like, we love it. So that, I think, again, because I wasn't expecting anything out of it.
Right.
So I knew Peacemaker was probably going to be good. I knew Stranger Things would be entertaining. You know what I mean? But I didn't know. That just sucked.
It could have. I think what, and we haven't talked about, I am behind on it, but I am catching up and I am really enjoying it. But the thing that really stands out to me is I think because the Machetes are involved, Andy and his sister, whose name escapes me at the moment, are producing and Andy's directing a number of episodes, is that it feels of a piece with the movies. And I think that really helps it out. There's that kind of propulsion that I thought was so kind of great about especially the first movie. And also, spoilers, although it's not a spoiler at this point, Bill Skarsgård returns as It the Clown. So it's very, I'm enjoying that as well.
They hold back on him, which is, I respect the restraint of not showing him for as long as they did, because he's not always Pennywise in the books. So the fact that they did that, even though that HBO and Warner Brothers or whatever, no, you must have him all the time. They probably had to resist those notes.
Absolutely.
So, respect.
Yeah, totally. You get away for a couple episodes with just seeing the balloon, and it's like, ooh, because if you know the story, if you know the movie, that the balloon is a huge part of it. So yeah.
Episode Ty and I were traumatized by the episode that's about to air this Sunday, the episode 7,
which will have aired by the time this goes out.
It will have aired by the time this comes out. It's brutal.
Okay.
Just be prepared.
Okay. Well, we will of course talk about that. It's weird to me to think that Andor came out this year, because that seems like such a long time ago.
I know. It's been a long year.
But all of us, we talked about that extensively. But that I still think is my favorite show of the year, just because it was so kind of cathartic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I think movies I loved Superman. I think other than that, and I'm currently seeing stuff that I really like. I really liked Wake Up Dead Man. I'm excited for people to see that.
Oh, I want to see that.
And there's a lot of really great things to pull out of it, I think, and to take away from it, especially if you were raised Catholic. But also, I've talked about it before, but Weapons.
I
know you are.
Weapons is great.
Oh, I gotta watch Weapons.
Weapons
That's
is
so on my
good.
list. We almost watched it on Thanksgiving, but
a perfect
we
Thanksgiving movie. All right. So, like I said, we're going to go round robin, talk about movies and or TV shows movies and TV shows that we are excited about. So we're going to, with no particular order other than just our own vibes. So we're going to start with Ro. What is a show or movie you're looking forward to in 2026?
Yeah, I think I said it, but things come in waves for me. And I feel like I'll just, give a teaser like that. I feel my holy trinity of TV is coming back to me in 2026, and that's Fallout, which technically comes in 2025, but just at the very end of it. So mostly it will be in January. The Rings of Power, which I love so much, and The Vampire Lestat, also known as Interview with the Vampire Season 3, but we shan't call it that to appease the vampire gods.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess since Fallout's coming up first, I'll start with Fallout. And this is great timing because I haven't actually, experienced anything for the show, even though it's coming out so close. So I say this only with the excitement that's pure in my heart. And I thought Fallout Season 1 just totally surprised me because unlike the other two shows that make up my triangle of greatness, it's not really in my wheelhouse. Nothing about it aesthetically or narratively appeals to me. I'm not really a sort of Cold War era aficionado. I don't really like sort of a grimy, sort of oozy world. And the video game isn't really like the kind of game I go in for. It's more action shootery than maybe I would typically sign up for. So I was like, oh, sure, Fallout, like, I'll watch it. But it was honestly, like, so amazing. It was just, like, I think it must be one of the best shows to have come out in recent years, full stop, because it was, like, a tight story. It was so well acted. It brought elements of the game in, but it did its own thing also. And something I really feel like I believe in deeply is that if you're going to be a part of a canon, like if we're saying the Fallout show is part of the Fallout franchise's canon, then it should be allowed to make choices just the way a game would or anything else. And I feel like they fully embrace that in a way that other adaptations maybe are like, oh, could we? Should we? But I feel like just taking agency of their place in the canon really, really helps. And also, the Ghoul's my guy. I'm part of the Ghoul gang. I'm a Ghoul gang gal. And Walton Goggins really, really delivered on that performance in a way I don't think anybody could have really foreseen. Prime Video's really hitting me with the something's wrong with your face, but I like you. Because your past is sad. Duo, perhaps soon to be a trifecta as other things come out. But the Ghoul is definitely the kind of character I go in for, even though, again, typically I wouldn't go in for a Western necessarily, and he's kind of a Western hero. But again, the writing is just so great that it really just brings everything together in a beautiful way. So I'm very excited for Fallout. The trailers look good. It looks like they're continuing to sort of adapt what is interesting to people about the games. The sort of the kings as ghouls is so fun. Everybody's excited about Macaulay Culkin and his ears and whether he's Caesar, and the casting continues to be really great. And yeah, I think just glad to see the core three from the first season, and also a feeling that like they've brought sort of the Ghoul and Lucy together they're not going to send their main characters off on totally disparate stories. So we're like, oh, when will they be together? Instead, they're just together, and we love that. So, yeah, I'm ready for more Fallout in 2026.
Yeah. I'm super looking forward to that show. I agree with you. The first season really kind of won me over instantly almost. I am kind of in the bag for that type of show. The games are what they are. I'm not a huge big RPG style gamer person, but I think the vibe is really good, and I really like the fact that there's that kind of I like peeling back the layer of what seems like niceness, and then it's just like disgusting underbelly underneath. I'm so on board with that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Walton Goggins is really good, but also Ella Purnell is really funny on that show.
Absolutely.
She, I was going to say she got to escape Yellow Jackets, but she didn't actually because she's still on that show in flashback form. But,
True.
But yeah, huge fan of Fallout. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I like that show too. It again, it's usually not something that's in my wheelhouse. I'm not a gamer. I'm kind of over post-apocalyptic stuff in general because it's just if it's good, I like it. But generally, if there's with fantasy genre stuff, if there's no element at all of I want to live in this world, I just look at those things and I'm like, there's no showers, there's no running water. I don't want to spend time here. But this show is so good and so weirdly funny, and I just was like, oh, I like this show. It's surprisingly, because again, I have no attachment to the source material. So, but that was a good show. Yeah.
I think they really thread this needle on this tone that's really hard to describe in words, but it's kind of almost campy, but serious at the same time. We can have a really funny, silly, thumbs up, okie dokie, but then it's also very serious without feeling pulled one way or the other. So I think it's just they do a lot of really complicated things that many other shows fail to do, but very gracefully and flawlessly. So more Fallout. Let's go.
Absolutely. Eric, what about you? What is the thing you're looking forward to?
In terms of returning things, I cannot wait for X-Men 97 to come back.
Yeah, man.
I am so stoked for that. It's crazy. It's been almost 2 years.
By the time it comes back, it will have been 2 years since the first season. Yeah.
And I think they're going to go in crazy directions, and I can't wait. Just from the little bits that we've seen. You know, I kind of worry, how much was the now fired showrunner was part of why that show was really good. We might find out. But I am so excited about everything I've seen. So that's one, especially as a comic book fan, the X-Men movies, even the best ones always feel detached from what we love about the comics to an extent. But not this show. This show gives you everything. And I think it's one of the best things Marvel's put out. It's the thing I'm most excited about from Marvel next year.
There is a lot from Marvel next year. So
and I'm excited about. I'm not agnostic about it. I'll be just as excited as anybody else when Spider-Man and Doomsday comes out. As much as I'm, whatever, I roll my eyes sometimes. I'm once the hype starts and I start seeing footage, I'll get excited. I know I will. I will. But X-Men's what I'm excited about the most, which is weird because it's their cartoon show. I'm sure we'll have. We already wrote about it, and largely you wrote about it. But after the first season, because there were so many teases for specific storylines that they're doing for next year. But I think there's going to be a lot of room for people to, especially now. There's 7 months for the next season. But we can if you want to get ahead of the game, you can read some Peter David X Factor. You could read The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, I think is what it's called, something like that. What were some of the other ones? Age of Apocalypse. There's all sorts of room for all that stuff, which I think will be really fun. And also just the concept of having some of those characters properly on screen for the first time in the cartoon, will we actually get Kitty Pryde? I know.
It sure seems like it.
I feel like we're getting Kitty Pryde, a character that was completely, never showed up, and everyone else showed up in that old X-Men cartoon, like everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Kitty, who's like a main character. They just decided that they only needed one teenage girl.
Yeah.
And it was going to be Jubilee, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the show is very 90s, and it's basically, and we talked about this when we talked about I think, we did a whole episode. Go back to episode of Laser Focus, but we talked about the original X-Men cartoon. It was sort of like, it was all the trappings of the Jim Lee kind of going forward 90s era, but it was all the stories mostly adapted from the Chris Claremont like 70s and 80s stuff, mostly 80s. So it was sort of interesting to be like, but Kitty is the whole thing in those stories, and they just kind of
they just put Jubilee in her place.
And Jubilee barely is in the show very much. Like that's the
Right.
she's in the show a lot, but her she's not the focus of anything except the first arc really. But
Yeah.
but anyway,
I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. Great. On to me, staying in the comic book realm. I'm gonna, as you might expect, most of my stuff is largely movie focused, but there's a lot of comic book movies, superhero movies coming out next year. But I think the one that I am the most intrigued by, I don't even know if it'll be the best one, but the one I'm most intrigued by is Clayface. I want to see if an in-universe horror story will work as effectively the third movie in a brand new franchise. The first two of which are just straight up Superman, Supergirl, and then Clayface. It just seems like such a strange kind of left field choice. I'm if that works, or if it feels of a piece with the rest of the universe while still being a complete like hard R-rated horror movie, which is what they've said it is, that will really give me the most hope for the DCU going forward, because then it can legitimately just be anything. It can, it won't just be a superhero thing, or a superhero thing with more swearing in it, which is what Peacemaker is. Where, this will be Craig Gillespie working from a Mike Flanagan script, and I think you and I talked about this before, Eric, but like this might, and I talked about this with Hector a couple weeks ago, but like this will perhaps give us our first glimpse at Gotham City. What does the DCU Gotham City look like? We can maybe guess that Batman won't be there, or at least won't be a huge part in it, but will Commissioner Gordon be there? Like, will there be any other, like Batman rogues in the movie? Like, there are all these things that we don't really know yet, and I think that's really intriguing as well. And then just having Clayface like as the center, who is a very tragic figure, but also like a monstrous figure, which is exactly like, if you're going to have gods and monsters, you can only have so many gods. We're like up to our nose with gods right now. And so we need some monsters.
I think Mike Flanagan said something that he's really inspired by the Batman the Animated Series version.
Which is the best version, for sure.
Which is the best version. So like that gives me hope. Like that's what we're getting. I have a feeling that, I know they're saying Batman's not in it. I would not be surprised if he makes some kind of cameo. And this is
I feel like, he'll probably
just
be around.
Just an appearance.
Yeah.
Like they did in that.
Creature Commandos.
Right, they already showed Creature Commandos. Yeah.
But I think we might get him speaking, because here's the, there's all these rumors right now about like that they're casting possibly Wonder Woman for Man of Tomorrow. The reason I think that that's possible is because I think James Gunn wants to decide who Batman and Wonder Woman are. And if he puts them in some, you know what I'm saying? Like early on, he kind of gets to say, like, this is who it is already. Let's just going forward.
So and also people will stop asking him about it.
And people will stop asking him about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think that makes sense.
I don't think Batman will have a big role if he's in it, but like, I would not be shocked if there's something.
Ooh, well, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like exactly my wheelhouse. I've talked about for a while how I was kind of disappointed that Swamp Thing got put on the back burner. So like, in lieu of getting Swamp Thing, I'm excited for some DC horror, because I've long said that DC does the best horror and Marvel does the best cosmic stuff. And I think that I'm excited for that to finally be on screen.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it will just be interesting sort of as a tonal moment in the franchise. Because I feel like the MCU really, in the end, wanted most of their movies to have the same feeling for a long time, and maybe this is like the MCU but spycraft, or this is like the MCU but space, or this is like the MCU but scary, but there was still this sort of underlining sort of taste to it that was specific. And then it'll be interesting to see like if they're really like, this is such a different movie, it's such a different style, but they're all linking together in one universe. So
I mean, that does kind of speak to, as much as I think the MCU is very samey, and I think that's a problem, that is a little more in keeping with Marvel Comics, which is that everything does kind of, was the same like 6 people writing everything for a really long time. So there is a kind of sense of every, there's the Marvel style.
Sure.
But DC has never had that. It's always been very like title based. And so I think bringing that to the screen is a cool idea. And I think that, we got to get set up, but it's like, I love the Superman stuff. I'm glad that Superman is taking center stage, but like we need a little bit. What's some different stuff? Stuff? So, all right, Ro, number 2. What of your triumvirate do you want to talk about next?
I guess I will go to Rings of Power as the one I named second. I think for me, Rings of Power just has been a direct hit. So I look forward to more of it. I feel like it brings me back to Middle Earth in the way I would like to be in Middle Earth. And for whatever reason, all of the characters, I just really like them. And I'm a really character-driven person. So when I like all the characters, that's really wonderful for me, because that then even if whatever is happening, I'm enjoying it because I'm just curious about like the character piece of it all. So I was, although of course my special sunshine baby Adar had to die in season 2.
Die so that others may live.
He had to die so that others may live. Exactly. I thought that his arc was beautiful in the end, and that the sort of question of the orcs was beautifully complicated, and I'm interested to see what becomes of my stepchildren when I return to the world of Middle Earth, and how the show navigates this kind of fascinating tangle they've created for themselves between Tolkien's lore and sort of their desire to add nuance to these characters that haven't really been nuanced. And then, of course, I'm always in it for the elves and the dwarves, who I like more than I usually like the dwarves in a given piece, because Durin is so great, and Sauron will be messing around in his full Sauron form, and Galadriel is my girl. So I'm ready for more high fantasy adventures, and I'm always excited for a favorite show to return to me.
So I didn't watch season 2. There was a lot going on last year, and I just tapped out of that one. But
we all must tap out of something at some point.
Indeed. When it's that and House of the Dragon back to back, it's like I can't do both. I can't do both.
And that's coming. Yes, it is.
And that is coming. Yes. But so where did season 2 end? Like what was the? I mean, obviously it was Sauron became Sauron, but like what? I
mean, Sauron's been Sauron, but he'd forged the rings for the elves. That was the end of, well, I'm sorry, Sauron did not forge the ring from the elves. He had given the elves knowledge.
Right.
Or assisted them in the, Celebrimbor had the knowledge, but Sauron assisted him. And then he left and they'd forged the ring for the elves. That was season 1. And then in season 2, it's a big sort of psychological thriller, mostly between Sauron and Celebrimbor, and the rings for the dwarves and the rings for man ended up being forged. And in the end of season 2, Sauron takes off with the rings for the men, and the dwarves have the rings for dwarves, and the elves retain their rings. So it basically, we get the Siege of Eregion, where basically it's just a huge loss for the elves. Celebrimbor dies. Sauron takes off with the rings. So it's like this, I feel it was like this turning point between Sauron rising and Sauron risen, kind of, which is what we'll sort of dive into. The synopsis is shared. There's sort of a time jump, and we're deep into the war of the elves and men in season 3, so there will likely be more battles. There's obviously a lot of lore that tells us where things may be going. That I'm sure people are jumping into. There's a lot of, there's characters, different characters people hope could pop up, obviously from the books, and so that's always exciting for everybody. And then, yeah, it's basically, that's kind of where we left it. So I think, obviously we're not going to be going to a good place, because this sort of, we kind of know where we kind of know where this is going, to sort of the epilogue of the Lord of the Rings. It's a we'll go to a period of limbo peace at the very end, but the ring will not be destroyed, because obviously Frodo's got to take it to Mordor. Yeah. But I think there will always be a balance of light and dark in any good Lord of the Rings property. So
now, have we gotten to the point where they are all of them deceived?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of happened in season 1. Now they're no longer deceived.
Now they get it.
Present. They're facing the right direction. They know. But, I'm sure more people will be deceived, as people always are, by a attractive evil man offering jewelry.
You don't like me as a swarthy sailor? Well, how about an elf?
What's funny? I actually did not like him as a swarthy sailor until I knew he was Sauron. At which point, literally, I was like, okay, I see it. That moment in season 1 where she was like, tell me your name, and he was like, and I was like, okay, in.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Did you see, that reminds me of like all these people posting memes post Stranger Things, where like people were like, I never thought Will was anything until he like channeled evil power, and now I'm like, they're like, do I think he's hot now? What's wrong with me? And I'm like, that's so funny. That's so funny to me. Look, you know what?
True.
With me, and like, I watched all of 6 Feet Under, and I was like, I didn't have any feelings about Michael C. Hall, but then he plays an evil serial killer, and I'm like, oh, hi.
That was literally me. It was like a flip switched, and I was like, okay, I've been out on you all season. I've been like, who is this average man? Why can he hang out with Galadriel? Go away. And now I'm like, okay, sir, that twinkle in your eye, you can stay. This is neither here nor there, but I thought it was offensive that they let Jamie Campbell Bower play as himself in Stranger Things season 5 volume 1, but they still somehow made him look unattractive. I want my money back, Stranger Things. What? So like, you're finally letting him have his face, but you've somehow still made him ugly. I'm so sorry, Jamie Campbell Bower.
I mean,
that is just my personal grievance that I thought I had to share.
That's the one thing you think was wrong with the first part of Stump.
Truly.
Eric, what is up next on your list?
Well, back to DC. I'm actually really excited about Lanterns.
Dude.
Because I love Green Lantern as a property. And it's obviously never been done in live action correctly. And it's just been now a million years. And I love Tom King's writing. And he's a producer on this. And I'm like, I'm really excited about what they're going to do with this. Like, I mean, it's weird from the offset. Like, you're like, it's going to be grounded. And like, on paper, that's not what I want for Green Lantern. But if they have a really cool take on it, this could lead to so many cool things. So I'm very excited, even though it's weird that we haven't seen really almost anything.
Well, it was gonna come out. It was supposed to be, early 2026, and then it got pushed just recently, as we're recording this, to spring or no, late summer. They said. Yeah. So that was sort of surprising, but. Again, we hadn't seen anything from it except that one picture, so it was sort of like
it might be an effects thing. I mean,
it might be an effects thing.
they don't know how to present them in their lantern forms yet, because that was such a point of controversy in the movie. Like the stupid, like, animated costume.
Yeah.
Like that they did, like they're like probably wondering like, okay, how do we make this look good?
But the weird thing is most costumes are animated now.
I know.
Like Spider-Man's costume is just animated, when
Yeah.
Tom Holland's running around jumping, like he's just wearing a mocap suit. So it's hard to.
But I think it was because it was supposed to look like light. Do you know what I mean? Like
I mean, it doesn't look good. I'll say that for sure.
It doesn't look good. The design of it was all right, but like the way it executed wasn't great. So I don't know. But I love the Green Lantern so much. For me, people always talk about the DC Trinity. To me, the DC has it's 5. And it's the Trinity and Flash and Green Lantern. And like they have dropped the ball on Flash and Green Lantern. And they need to fix them. Well, I mean, the Flash had a very successful TV show, so not entirely.
Yeah, that's true. But that show just became so.
Oh yeah, it
maudlin.
Wore out its welcome around season 5 at least.
Yeah, I think I forget when I tapped out, but it was like when you had the 4th speedster bad guy in a row. It's like, oh my god, like,
right. But like when it was good, it was really good, and it showed that there's stories to tell with the Flash. And I want the Green Lanterns to have their moment. And there's so many Green Lanterns, so like they could bring in so many, and it's such an untapped thing for DC that I'm just waiting for them. And they need to get it right, because you need to have one of the things that made Zack Snyder's Justice League for me like not really the Justice League was there's no lantern. There needs to be one.
Yeah.
And like I hope that this like is a way towards that.
And that is the interesting thing about it, is that it is one of the few like major DC things that has no DCEU baggage at all because of that.
Yeah.
Other than the absence of a Green Lantern in either version of the Justice League. And I think that was like a big point of contention. And the fact that they were trying to get this Lanterns TV show off the ground for years. So that I find interesting, but yeah, it has the most kind of runway. They're not comparing it to anybody except that terrible Ryan Reynolds movie. So I think that's okay.
Yeah. So
speaking of comparing things to earlier crappy versions of things, do you like that for a segue? One of the movies next year that I'm the most looking forward to is Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. I really like those games for all their kind of hokiness, as well as they're being very terrifying. That's part of the charm of the Resident Evil games. The movies by Paul W.S. Anderson really very quickly veered away from what the games are, and they became their own thing, and you can like them or not like them. I tended to not as they went along, but I thought the first one was pretty good, but it's definitely not like the games, and I'm really excited for his take on that world. It's not going to adapt any one game or any storyline or anything like that, and kind of just be another thing set within the umbrella set under the umbrella of Resident Evil. But I'm really looking forward to that. After 2 horror movies now, between Barbarian and Weapons, both of which I thought were excellent. And he seems like he really, really cares about the Resident Evil franchise. I think that's such a cool idea. So I'm really looking forward to that. And also, not least because they have just absolutely dropped the ball on Resident Evil stuff for such a long time. And if because there was that Netflix show a couple years ago, which was god awful. And then there was that movie that was like, hey, let's adapt. We're actually going to adapt the games. And they tried to adapt the first 2 games into a 90-minute movie, and it just absolutely didn't work. So really looking forward to this. I hopefully will get it right. If anybody can get it right, I think it's Zach Cregger. So, yeah. Do
and
I
I think
care?
like we were talking about just that in a sort of an adaptation situation like this, it's almost always better to just be like, I'm going to do my own thing versus like trying to recreate the magic of something that's already magical in such a on screen like dynamic way. It's not like a book to a movie. It's like you've already sort of lived the viewing experience of a story already, and then you make it again, but it's less good because it can't be as developed as a game. Like, it's a hard one.
Yeah, and especially those games, because they are so story driven, but also so kind of experience driven. Like, if you already know, like there's like memes of Resident Evil where like when a dog is going to jump out at you because of a particular thing happening, where you're like, it's hard to recreate that stuff that people just have baked into their, because the series is 30 years old. Like it started, the first game was from 96, so it literally will be the 30th anniversary. So I think, yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what kind of weird monsters there are, because the last few games have been like very mushroom monster filled, which is just a weird thing, but I'm into it.
'Tis the time,
or mold,
I guess.
I guess they're more black mold, but all right. Are you gonna? Now's the time to talk about.
Now's the time. It's the
Vampire
time.
Lestat. Let's do
It's
it.
the moment.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eric and I, we share this love in our heart. Eric has been a long time OG.
Oh yeah.
I'm a new kid on the block, but I wasted no time in inserting myself into fandom. I'll send Eric something like, "Hey, do you have like the receipts for this Armand's birthday that people claim may have been on an Anne Rice calendar that released 400 years ago?" And Eric is like, "I don't know, let me check my basement."
Yeah, it's like, I have to still find that. I might have it.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I might have that Anne Rice calendar from 1998, yeah.
Kyle, we're referring to a mystery where fandom has given the character Armand a birthday, but nobody can remember why this is the colloquial birthday for the character. And there was a question going around online, like, why have we decided on this day? And somebody was like, I think it was in some official calendar at some point that nobody has anymore. And I was like, maybe Eric has this. All this to say, I'm interested in the minutia of Armand's birthday to tell you where I am in fandom, and Eric probably has the calendar to tell you where he is in fandom.
Yeah. I do have it somewhere.
It's safe to say we're excited for the Vampire Lestat.
I mean, the Vampire Lestat's my favorite book. He's my favorite character in fiction, and has been since I was 13. So, and they've never properly adapted that book. They did the first one, and then they did the third one. They skipped when they were making movies, they skipped the second one. So I have been waiting for this for a very long time, and so far everything I have seen looks faithful. I mean, there's some things that concern me a lot. They concerned me before, which was there's a big heavy emphasis on the rockstar aspect, which is like 20 pages in the beginning of the book and maybe 30 pages at the end. Like it's a framing device of the book. It's not a big thing. And the Queen of the Damned movie really focused on it in a lame way. But all the music I've heard is really good. So good. It's so good that I'm like, okay, fine, you can do that. You can,
Yeah, if you do it right, make him a rockstar.
It's fine. Well, the Queen of the Damned movie was it was corn. It was so bad. 2002. It was so I remember watching going this is gonna be dated in 5 minutes, and it was. And this is no. It's a 70s 80s glam rock Hedwig Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm like, all right, you get it. Go ahead. Go crazy with the rockstar stuff.
As we talk about the queerness jumps out of this show, and they're all in on it. And that's so necessary. No other show is all in on its queerness, like Interview with the Vampire / the Vampire Lestat.
Well, except that hockey show.
I have not watched that yet.
Sure. But TBD, because in the Vampire Lestat / Interview, every main character is queer. So they really have to contend with that. Is every character in your show queer? Otherwise,
they all are. I mean, in her mythology, the show's a little bit different about it, but in her mythology, once you become a vampire, you don't care about those distinctions.
Well, that's something that I always thought was so cool about What We Do in the Shadows, where it's just they're just they've been around forever. They'll screw anything, and they don't. They make no big deal about it. No. It's just Nandor and Laszlo are bored one evening, so they just go fuck each other. It's just cool. It's a really it's something about vampire mythology that I think does not get played up enough. It's yes, they are sexual and seductive, but it's they also just are bored. What do you know?
Exactly.
We're bored and hot. What else are we gonna do?
It's a little different in the books than the movie. In the shows, they have actual sex. In Anne Rice's mythology, they're very sexy, and they but for them, biting each other is they don't have like actual
Sure.
sex.
Eric
Sure.
doesn't forgive us, but I do.
And like so, but still, they're all basically queer. Like it just doesn't matter to them once you become a vampire. Like you don't care anymore.
And this kind of brings me sort of to like something that's my long time inroad. Like Eric, I feel like you've been waiting 30 years for the Vampire Lestat to be adapted.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I have been waiting 30 years for one of my actual ships to kiss on screen. So if Armand and Daniel can actually get it together in the Vampire Lestat, like we could cross that long time goal off my to-do list, because I have been waiting for a couple that I am actually all in for to actually kiss on screen. So Roland Jones, if you're listening, don't let me down.
Do you know what's fun? I love the Armand Daniel relationship in the books, like big time. And I did think one of my issues with the first season of Interview with the Vampire, when they made Daniel old, I'm like, oh, now that means they're never going to do that. They're never going to go there. They're going to skip that whole story. And I'm like, oh, okay, surprise, surprise, they're not. Like,
yeah, and it'll be, I mean, I think it's almost even better because it's like sort of this elder queer representation. I talked about it with Eric Bogosian a little, but just like something that not only doesn't exist on our screens ever, but sort of in real life has been taken from us in many ways because of the AIDS epidemic. So it would just be awesome for them to do this.
That's true. I mean, let me tell you, like, it's very true in queer media, like 40 and goodbye, you know, like that's just, it sucks.
Yeah.
But like, it's that way. So yeah, that would be nice. Like, let's not even talk about like 60 or more, like you just, you know, then then you get to be in things, but then you get to be in like, you know, you're just a grandpa kind of roles. Like you don't get to have a personality at all.
There's the old queen.
There's the old queen, which is why everybody was fine. Like I remember, you know, when Ian McKellen was in like all these big things, like when he was suddenly in Lord of the Rings and he was in X-Men and everybody, and it was a big deal. But I'm like, but he's not getting to. He's in a safe old guy kind of role.
Right.
He's never gonna. They're never gonna put him. You know, and so like that was progress, but it wasn't. You know, I'd like to see. I mean, it's actually. If you look at like the fact that Jonathan Bailey is like in 2 huge blockbusters where he's a leading man and is openly queer is kind of a big deal, because 25 years ago that would not have happened. All we would have gotten was, you know, you get to be in this, but you're grandpa and you're not going to have any sexuality to you,
or you get killed off and you're not, or you're the best friend or something like that. There's just so much of that.
Friend, you know. And even though Jonathan Bailey's playing straight, it's like
it's amazing.
Overhead, like they're, you know, and it's like no one's thinking about it. So in these dark times, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's huge progress to have like gay older representation with like romantic storylines, because it just does not happen.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And I don't know. Devil's Minion is so romantic in the books. Like, whoa, romantic. Like, I didn't expect to be that romantic, but I was like so all in on it. So, yeah. So it really has to happen for me, or I'll be so sad forever and I'll never get over it, as I say every time.
They may save that, because if you don't get it in the next, remember that's in the 3rd book. That's in the 3rd book. I
think they'll have to just kiss, just for us, just a little bit, just to tell us they understand. We're here.
Maybe they won't be the main focus of the season, but at least it's there.
So fine. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of convo about it. People are excited. The actors seem excited. So I'm excited.
That's right. Eric, did you have another one, or were you guys going on that one?
No, I do have another one.
Yeah, go for it.
Similar gothic vein. I'm really excited about Robert Eggers' Werewolf.
Ooh,
why wouldn't you
Listen, I loved Nosferatu. And I really like The Witch, and I'm like, give me another gothic, because you know what? This was a very good year for classic monsters.
Very much.
Yes.
I felt like this was the year where it was like, hello, the biggest horror movies were vampires, witches, and Frankenstein. Like those were like the big splashy ones, and I'm like, but Wolfman like apparently kind of sucked. I didn't see it. I have to say,
I didn't see it either, but apparently it's not very good.
It was okay. I mean, it didn't hurt my feelings, but it wasn't like amazing.
But it felt like we need like a good like goth werewolf movie, and if he delivers that, Like, I'm stoked. Like, I haven't seen a thing of it. Like, you
Okay,
know?
I was gonna bring up because I've seen some set photos, but like I won't talk about it.
No,
Then,
I
but-
haven't seen anything. I just like the concept. I'm like, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a cool. I mean, he is definitely a proponent of a particular era, which he's actually drawn some criticism for, a particular part of the world and people from there and things like that. But he, you know, after Nosferatu and its like focus on the Baltic region, I think that's a really interesting Balkan region. I think that's a really interesting just place to set stuff, and having this be, I think, even further east. I think it's Russia or someplace Ukrainian, maybe someplace like that. But werewolf folklore is so interesting if in history, and I think there's a lot of room there because it's a lot of it too is tied to kind of othering, which is such a huge part of, you know, what monsters in modern society in Gothic literature are, is sort of like a stand-in for a particular type of othered. And I think that there's I'll give away a little bit, but there's been pictures of Lily Rose Depp, who is playing a character with like a very pronounced hair lip, I guess.
I saw that. I did see that.
So
and I was like, ooh, they're really making them look authentically medieval.
Yeah. Which,
like, you know, fun. Because you know what? Medieval people look like shit.
So fun.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Which is something he did with The Northman too, which is not a movie I love that much, but everybody looked like they were miserable, and that I think is very important because everyone was miserable.
Obsessed with us.
Yeah, but that's not for a whole year. We have to wait a whole year for that.
I know that's
one.
a whole year for that.
That is a long time.
Yeah. Speaking of things we have to wait a long time for which we have to wait a long time, also coming out next December, unless they move it, we'll find out. Our corporate overlords will tell us one way or the other. But Dune Part 3, man, I'm just like,
yes,
I have managed to not see anything about production, but other than like tons of great casting. Robert Pattinson just like let it slip that he's in the movie, and I just think I love that for him. But Matt Caron, who we both, you know, work with and have for a long time, is the world's biggest Dune fan, and Dune Part 3 is adapting Dune Messiah, which is his favorite Dune book. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. So that he can shut up about it. No, probably never will.
Matt, if you're listening.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
It's his
Matt.
Vampire Lestat.
It is.
Yes.
It really
Oh,
is.
that's so nice.
Yeah. But if this is the last Dune movie that Denis Villeneuve makes, which he sort of hinted that he only wanted to do 3 of these, like basically adapt the first Dune novel and then Dune Messiah, I think he's going to go out with a bang. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the first 2 movies really set up an interesting kind of, you know, take on the source material, and then 3 or the second book, but the third part is where all the crazy shit happens. So I think that's what I'm most looking forward to, is some crazy shit. But again, that's not until next December. Ro, okay, back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like TV shows are more my thing ultimately than movies at the end of the day. But the Avatar: The Last Airbender series has promised me more of my favorite gang, as it were. And if it looks anything like the one marketing image that was released, these long years ago, of the older group in their young adult like times, then I'm pro. Looks good, all in. And yeah, you know, I love Zuko, so more Zuko is good for me, and I love the gang as well, so I'm excited for the continuing adventures, although of course this series is so perfect. Opening up a can of worms is always opening up a can of worms, but all the original folks, I believe, are involved, so with any luck, it will be a glorious addition, and everything can retain its shine.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see it. So
I'm looking forward to it because Lauren Montgomery is directing it, and I think she's really,
nice.
really good. And
great.
she directed a lot of. She was one of the main people behind Voltron, the Legendary
nice.
Defender, which is one of my faves. But
Very,
she also
very
worked
popular.
on yes,
A
but
ton
she
of
also
DC
worked on
stuff.
Legend of Korra. So like she gets that world. She knows those
The
people.
world. Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, so that'll be good. But when's that supposed to come out? I have that on the list
Oh
somewhere.
man, that moved a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Legend of
October is what it looks like.
I think that was did
Oh,
they
that's
move
the
it all the way back to October in the
maybe.
end?
How many times did I
Let me
write it down?
see.
That's the thing. It doesn't matter. But it's I
It
think I
moved
saw
a bunch of times. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it eventually moved all the way back to October where it began, but it was supposed to be October, I think, of this year. Then it moved
Got it.
somewhere else. Now it's back in October, but it's next year,
Yeah.
which is fine. However long you need to
Yeah.
really
well,
get them looking good.
Yeah.
We'll wait, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time since the series ended, so what's
Yeah.
one more year?
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Eric, are you looking for this was not one we talked about, but are you looking forward to Starfleet Academy at all?
Yeah. I guess.
That face,
like,
you can't see it, folks, but
yeah,
that face
like,
does
it's
not convince
fine.
me.
I don't know. Like, I'll watch it. It's Star Trek, but like they gotta they gotta I don't know. They gotta sell me on it. I've never really wanted a Starfleet Academy show because it's just I kind of want my people. I guess they're in space in this. I guess it's not really on Starfleet Academy. Like they get like a mission where they get
Right.
to go out and I don't know. I'm just not that excited about the 32nd century that they present. Like it's a spin-off of Discovery, and it's like we're way farther away from any part of Star Trek lore that we've ever been in before. And I haven't really liked to me the 32nd century didn't advance far enough for me in the way that I had imagined. It was too samey. Like I don't know. Maybe. Like
Okay.
I'm not super excited about it, but I'll watch it. Strange New World season 3 was not that great, so I don't know how I feel about Star Trek on TV right now.
It really feels like they've pulled back on a lot of that stuff. Actually, that's 100% true. We haven't, mentioned it really, but there's been a lot of crazy Doctor Who news and stuff, and Disney pulled out on that, and so I feel like with Disney also pulling back on the amount of Star Wars and Marvel on TV and stuff, I feel like there was that halcyon period where Star Trek was really good. And there was a bunch of different shows for all types of fans. And now we're going to go back to there being just one. Because we already know that Strange New World is wrapping up soon.
Strange New World is wrapping up. I mean, there's rumors that they're going to do a Star Trek Year 1 thing, which would not surprise me right now.
Yeah, but go further in the future. That's the stuff that I don't care about the beginning.
I mean, what I want is Star Trek Legacy, which they just refuse to pull the trigger on for whatever reason. It's what everybody wants, but they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about what they're doing with the movie, because from what I understand, the new movie they're doing is going to be completely new, which shocked me. Shocked me, because I'm like, oh, they're going to reboot The Next Generation. I did a whole piece about it. Okay, this is what they're going to do, so this is how you should probably do it. But that's not really what I want. I want them to do something completely new, So that excites me. I mean, at least potentially. But Starfleet Academy, I'll watch it and see how it is. Let's see, But I'm not foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
No. It's just sad because I love me some Star Trek.
I know.
I
was surprised when we were kind of talking about our lists earlier today before we recorded, and you did not have any Star Trek on your list.
Strange New World season 4 would have been on there if Strange New World season 3 was great, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
I still haven't watched it. I want to, but I just haven't yet.
Some of them are all right, but
I think it's because you watched them early and told me they weren't good, and I was like, "Wow, now I'm not really excited."
They're just really gimmicky. They're just I don't know. They're gimmicky, but here's a space-related alien thing that I'm excited about. I know nothing about whatever Steven Spielberg's new UFO movie is.
Right.
Nice.
But Steven Spielberg and aliens, he's 3 for 3 with me. So
nice.
I want to know what that is. And John Williams is coming back. Come on. Close Encounters is one of my favorite movies ever. So if it's in the Close Encounters vein, give me some of that.
I forget if we talked about this, but earlier this year, I guess it was in August, or maybe early September, they showed Close Encounters here in LA. not the director's cut, but like a some other cut. Like
there's like 3 versions.
Yeah, so it was the version that had more scenes, but it didn't have that weird tacked on.
Right. That's the one that's his preferred version.
Yeah, so it was that, but they had just recently like struck a new 70 millimeter print of it and stuff like that. And I'd never seen it projected before, and it was just like, it was incredible. And I think that movie doesn't get nearly enough like talked about. So
it was a huge hit when it came out. Like I think I've seen like an inflation adjusted lists for like the top. It's up there.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, and I think that people forget that like that and Star Wars came out in the very same year, and like suddenly because of that double whammy, a lot of other sci-fi things that we love got greenlit. Because a lot of people felt Star Wars was a fluke, and they're like, oh yeah, but that's just that thing. And then when Close Encounters came out the same year, people were like, oh, is this a trend? And suddenly you get Alien greenlit and Superman the movie and Star Trek the motion picture, you know?
Yeah.
It was that double whammy of Close Encounters and Star Wars.
Yeah, people. Yeah, you're absolutely right. People just focus on Star Wars and forget the Close Encounters. But the effects in Close Encounters look so good. Like
I know,
completely in a different way than Star Wars. But like
that sequence with that child is one of the greatest sequences in movies ever. When like they come to the house and you know, oh, so good.
And it draws him out, and it's just like
and
that the wind and blowing the reeds and stuff like that. It's great. What a good movie.
Great.
That is a great call. I am really I didn't even know that it was happening until I was putting the list together of like the greater list of movies coming out, and I was just like, I guess it's called The Dish.
Is it? I thought it was still untitled. I didn't like.
I know on IMDb it's called The Dish, but
okay.
I don't know if that's the case for everything else. Yeah, it must be that one. It's not the untitled Frank Bullitt movie, which is
perhaps not.
Which apparently stars Bradley Cooper as the character that Steve McQueen plays in the movie Bullitt.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's that David Koepp. But it's kind of, if this is all accurate, these are all the people who have been announced, I guess, for this movie, The Dish. Coleman Domingo, Josh O'Connor, Emily Blunt, Colin Firth, Wyatt Russell, and then just a bunch of people that no shade to them, but are not people I know. But that's a pretty good beginning of a cast.
Yeah.
If it gets into like conspiracy UFO lore, I'm all about. I'm not a conspiracy guy, unless it deals with UFO shit. Then I'm watching the 3-part Netflix docuseries.
Nice.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Please go back and listen to my 17-hour-long X-Files discussion we've had on this podcast. I am looking forward to a movie that wasn't supposed to come out ever. Speaking of movies that have been moved around, but it is finally coming out. I can't believe it's actually happening. It got shelved indefinitely, and there was enough word of mouth and push from other people, and the fact that they were able to sell it off. But Warner Brothers has finally opened their grubby hands on Coyote versus Acme, which I could not be more excited about. I think there is the Looney Tunes need to be on screens. I think that's just a huge part of. We grew up with the Looney Tunes everywhere, and like I think that it's a huge. I think people are missing out. Like anybody who was born post Space Jam don't really know what they're missing because the Looney Tunes have not been in much, or at least not anything super good.
Looney Tunes taught us about a lot of pop culture from before our time. I feel.
Yeah, I think so.
So much like music and things and actors and stuff that they would reference in the Looney Tunes that like that's how we learned about them.
Yeah. Well, because we were watching them in the 80s and 90s, and the shorts were all from the 30s through the early 50s. So like it was, you know, so we were seeing stuff from forever ago. I remember watching one, it was some Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam like cartoon, but it took place in the South. And Yosemite Sam's character was like still a Confederate, and Bugs Bunny's like, but sir, the battle betwixt the states ended 70 years ago. It's like, what? Like,
wow.
Like less than like people. That just blew my mind. I was like,
do you know what's crazy? I learned recently. My partner Ethan, like, will say things like he'll make a reference to some movie. I'm like, how do you even know that? And he's like, oh, because American Dad and Family. And like that's how they know it. But for us, it was Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, Looney Tunes needs to be like. I just think there's some things that should be ubiquitous. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
so
It's
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and that movie looks really good. They showed
It
a few
does.
clips at Comic-Con, which I saw, and everybody was really into it. And also, it's ironically, about like taking on the big corporations. So it's now prescient in its own meta way, which is sure to help it succeed.
And like we were talking about when you and Eric talked about Batman, whatever that show is called, the
Cape
cartoon.
Crusader. Cape Crusader.
Yeah, Batman Cape Crusader.
Is that
it's
coming
so
out this year?
that was I think it is.
Okay.
But how weird it is for Warner Brothers to own a streaming service and a channel in HBO and then sell off their stuff to other channels. And I understand that you get more money that way, but it's still just like what the fact that, especially Looney Tunes, because to me, like, Looney Tunes are Warner Brothers. Like, I am not that far from where I am in Burbank from the Warner Brothers studios, and the water tower is there. And to me, that's the Animaniacs, So like,
they live there.
That's where they live. And and the 90s were really a time when Warner Brothers was like putting money behind animation and putting money into their own IP in the way that Disney was. And now it's just like, not that way.
I'll tell you this. I think whoever buys Warner Brothers, to be clear, I wish Warner Brothers wasn't being sold.
Yes.
But I think whoever buys Warner Brothers they're gonna cut that shit out. They're gonna be like, no, those Batman, DC, Looney Tunes, that shit's ours. That goes on our streaming service.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which seems smart.
Like, what is this? I mean, it saved them, like Amazon saved Batman, but like, and now this movie is being saved, but like, it just feels so bizarre, that someone else is releasing it.
Yeah. It feels very, and it's like a really small, like they did not sell it for very much money. Like, it's a very small, like, distributor is putting it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, I think people are really looking forward to it, and I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing that movie finally. A movie that we didn't think we'd ever see.
Yeah.
I think there's something really exciting about that. All right. In our last few minutes, does anybody have any other things that they want to shout out, or just general? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I remember now that I don't have a triangle, but a square, because One Piece Season 2 is also coming out this year. It's so much to believe that all these things that I love are coming out, and I'm just so excited to just be working nonstop all year. No, just kidding. But I am very excited for One Piece Season 2. I found One Piece Season 1 to be incredible. It was full of heart. It was full of love. It was full of great characters. It was a successful anime adaptation, which is so hard to do. And it just really won me over, and I struggle with the anime mostly because the art style doesn't specifically appeal to me, and I also think it's just targeted at a audience that's not necessarily me and my demographic, but the show felt like it was, and I was all about it. I was in love with it. I love the Straw Hat Pirates. I love their found family. I love the strong bonds between them, and I'm so excited for it to sail back onto our screens.
That was a shockingly good adaptation of an anime to live action, which almost never works. Like,
almost never.
I think, because even the last Airbender show, the Avatar show, it's good, but it's not as good as the anime by far. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right. I think that one comes sort of, it's good in that you can watch it alongside watching the animated series, and they shade each other out in nice ways. But as a standalone that stands on its own, I feel like One Piece does like this incredible job. And this is just to my taste. People love the anime. People love the manga. I support their love. But to me, it just sort of smooths out almost the like chaotic, frazzled edges of those iterations of it, and makes it just this smoother narrative that really works for me as sort of a lover of a character and a good story. And I tried to watch the anime, and it was very like the people were yelling, they were screaming, they were there. It's just very chaotic. And I felt like this kind of took the best parts of it, fleshed it out, slowed them down a little, and just like added just something smooth to it, which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who not just specifically the One Piece anime, but there's that type of anime which is very big and in your face and loud and like big expressions and things like that, which is a part of that art form. However, it's not to everyone's kind of styles. And so
everyone's dialed up to 11, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And that's kind of, again, just like what I like about the idea of an adaptation, which I think is often hard for fans of something that already exists to grasp onto, that it should be aiming at something different, at a different goal than the source material, because the source material, it already exists. The people who enjoy it can go enjoy it as it is. Why are we remaking it? We're remaking it. It must have some purpose, you know?
Right.
So
it
I feel
can't just
like
be one for one. Yeah.
Correct. So I feel like appealing to a different audience, coming at it from a different angle, doing something a little different with the characters. I think when a series is brave enough to do that, kind of like we were talking about with Fallout, and I feel Rings of Power to extent, and the Vampire Lestat, all of these shows, like, they're not afraid to make it their own and stay true to their vision and what makes sense for their story. And I think that's the most powerful thing you can do as an adaptation.
And we all kind of fall into that, where like if we're huge fans of a particular piece of media, if they do another version of it, or if they're adapting this movie or this show into a movie or this book into something or other, you kind of go like, oh, here we go. And like, not to throw you under the bus, Eric, but I remember like before Interview with the Vampire season 1 came out, you were very concerned. You were like, they're making all these changes.
Still have
and all
a bunch of issues with the first season. Like there's things that I will always chafe against.
Sure.
Yeah.
But some of the changes were good.
Yeah. And that you have to stand by your convictions, I think, is the big main thing with adaptation.
I think it's totally fair for people to feel like that who've loved something for a really long time. But I feel like then you have people like me who watched the first season and have no complaints, but are now just fans of the franchise, like,
right.
And that's just how the cookie crumbles, I feel like, as things are created and created again, Yeah. But 100%. I think the power of a good show is that it's doing its thing. It can appeal to fans of the original, but it can also appeal to fans of its own, or else it's just got no chance. You know?
Yeah. Which is what the problem that befell Cowboy Bebop, which is that like it wasn't close enough to make the hardcore people happy, and it wasn't different enough to make the people go like, well, then why are you doing it? So it was sort of like it was a real damned if you do kind of situation, which is a bummer because I liked all that cast and everything. It just didn't
that was weird.
Didn't
that
do
just
enough.
Kind of just died, huh?
Yeah.
Like there was
and
I think it got like viewership too. Like
it was highly viewed, but Netflix pays a lot of attention to social media reaction, or at least did a few years ago. I'm sure they still do, but the prevailing social media reaction was negative, and so they were just sort of like, the people we were targeting are not into this, and so it did not get a chance, which is a bummer because it did end on a cliffhanger. So it's like,
oh no,
yeah, but that always happens with Netflix shows. They always end on cliffhangers.
No, they just ended English Teacher on a cliffhanger too, which is a show I really liked, and it makes me not like.
And Ty has had that same issue with, was it Archive 31?
Oh, that was so rude.
Yeah, that she was so mad about that show because like she was super into it, and then they just didn't make a second season. It was like, cool,
and it did well for them. Like, I know it was in their top 10 for like a couple weeks, and it was just like, no, like it just caught.
Well,
and I'm just
somebody
like, it makes
just save Hannibal.
I'm right, but I mean, like
at this point,
Glow was another one that Mikey and I loved that show. And and they just will never know what happened.
People loved that show. Oh my goodness.
I just feel like, would you pick up a book like if you knew that like someone would rip out the last 20 pages from you?
Well, I mean,
Mikey would never pick it up.
Mikey has said time and again that his favorite books, I mean, he's said it on this podcast, but time and again that his favorite books are A Song of Ice and Fire, and he will not recommend anybody read them because at this point it's like,
Right.
You don't even know if it's going to get finished. So like, what's the point?
Right.
I mean, right?
Yeah, and I just that's so much TV shows that like I'm very trepidatious to watch new shows like that because I'm like,
I know.
oh, it sounds good, it looks good, but like, am I going to get a resolution or not?
Yeah.
And then
Right,
it's like then after a while, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is a hit, so I'm confident that like this is not going to get.
It's weird because it's like waiting for trade paperbacks to see if you like a comic,
right?
And then like, by and large, they tend to like group them by 6 or 6 to 8 issues. So there will at least be a few more than that. But like with a TV show, you can't really do that because by time the whole season's over, it might not get picked up again. So it's like, well, then,
right.
It's a real damned if you do scenario.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm actually quite looking forward to next year. I think there's a lot of really good stuff for us to
watch and forget that the world is burning.
I know. And we didn't even mention like we will have trailers coming out soon for Doomsday and probably Brave New World. No, that's not what it's called.
No.
Brand New Day. Brave New World.
That's okay.
Was a bad movie.
That's exactly why we're not mentioning it.
Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I think will be interesting. It's very weird to me. Oh, there will also be like a ton of other, TV shows and movies that we didn't mention, but
yeah, I think we touched on it at some point, but like how the superhero movies didn't really make it in the box office this year, which I think is kind of reflected in our lists here.
I mean, I think that they
for
did.
sure. Like,
they just weren't. They weren't the. We've been so
literally
accustomed to them. They to superhero movies being the biggest of. Now they're just successful movies.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. Like both Superman and Fantastic Four did well. Like it's just not. They're not.
No. I think Superman
was the one that
was the one that was like higher on the list. The rest of them were pretty not like not like that didn't make money, but they were
They're just
far lower on the top 10 than ever before.
But I think I think we're gonna find out too. Like it's gonna be interesting. Like I think this Avatar is probably gonna be the one that doesn't quite crack $1 billion for the first of this.
Oh, for sure.
But I think it's gonna be weird because
with love. What's happening in that series? Who remembers?
No idea.
You know what? I'm agnostic. I'm an Avatar agnostic.
Same.
In the sense that I enjoy them when I watch them and then I never watch them again, but they're fun to watch in the theater. But if this one does well, I don't know if I want to hear anyone like if 3 movies of if 3 of these make $1 billion, I don't know how anyone can justify it. Be like, but nobody likes it. Someone does.
No, of course.
Someone does.
I mean, my friend said that for them, it's the movie that they take their family to on Christmas that everybody can agree on, so they don't have. So there's something everybody can do together on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? Like
it's
in that period.
It's the Denny's of movies.
It's the Denny's of movies, but sometimes I want Denny's. Sometimes I want.
No, of course.
Like, you know what I mean? So I just
No, I'm not a hater. Like, I just don't even know what's happening in that world anymore. Like it feels like so far from. I just have no like true recollection of where we are, what we're doing.
No, me neither. That was like 3 years ago. I totally don't remember. There was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of blue people, whatever.
Right?
And I literally posted this today. I'm like, if this one also does well, like no more of this. Like nobody cares. Someone does.
Yes.
Because someone's
of course.
going. And so that's how I don't know how it was going, but like even that I don't think is going to make $1 billion, and I think we're going to have to recalibrate that. There are very, very few movies that make $1 billion anymore.
Oh my god, of course,
very much so,
and that has to no longer be like the only measure of like blockbuster success. Like if it makes 700 million, that's fine.
I know.
Well, I mean, I think in many things, the constant need to top the next number all the time is just ridiculous, and at some point you just have to be like, is this a lot of money? If yes, great. What
is the flow chart of success?
The conversation around Doomsday is going to be really exhausting if it doesn't make more than Endgame, because it's not going to.
No, there's no way.
No way. How could it?
Way. It's 6 years later. We live in a post-pandemic, completely different theatrical world. It's just not gonna.
Yeah, and it just doesn't have the lead into it.
No.
Endgame had
exactly, and it's just gonna be really exhausting.
Yeah, completely.
People aren't acknowledging that shit has changed.
Yeah, the only American movie I should say that crossed $1 billion so far this year, it has Lilo and Stitch, and it just crossed.
It just crossed it. Yeah.
Huh.
Minecraft got very close. It's
Very
957, almost
Nice.
958 million. That's like really up there, but it's all it's kids movies, and like Zootopia
kids
made
movies.
a shit ton of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that was mostly China. Like China was
They're into
I
the
think
Zootopia.
over half of it was because of China.
Mhm.
And they love animals talking.
They love animals talking, unlike Oz,
Yeah.
which does not like animals talking. Anyway, Rhoda knows what I'm talking about. She likes Wicked.
Wait, so
Amazing.
I haven't seen the new Wicked yet.
Yeah.
Oh no, Wicked. The big political allegory in the Wicked is that the wizard, like animals talking, are like a subjugated minority. Like they're basically.
Oh, I see. I understand.
Like the talking animals are treated poorly.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a whole thing. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pass that along. I'll keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
Thank you both, Ro and Eric, for joining me as always. I assume that you both have similar plugs, but Ro, what would you like to plug?
Sure. I mean, as always, you can find my work on Nerdist.com.
Heard of it.
I'd like to plug specifically my article about Dustin and Stranger Things, and the one I will soon publish about Dustin and Steve, because they're good and you should read them. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram at rotem_Rusak. And that's the main place I would say I'm hanging out these days.
Very good. Eric, what have you written recently that you're excited about? Well, both you and Ro have been super into Stranger Things stuff, but
Yeah, it took me. I did this big Stranger Things like Easter egg piece. I'm gonna tell you, that show is made of Easter eggs and
For
references. So lordy, like that. Yeah, please read that. Please read that. That took me a while.
yes.
Yes, read it. It's good.
It's
It's got them all, everyone.
Yeah, it's got all of them. Probably not, but close.
Whatever.
You can find me every day at nerdist.com, on socials, at Geekboy Eric on Blue Sky, and at Geekboy Eric on Instagram.
Wonderful. Yeah, you can also read stuff that I've been writing on Nerdist.com, including some reviews of movies that I've really enjoyed. It's December, and I've finally seen movies that I'm like actually kind of over the moon about, so that's exciting. And you can follow my movie journey on Letterboxd at Kyle_Anderson. All right, thank you, folks. We only have one more episode before we go dark for the holidays. So until then, I've been Kyle Anderson. Join me again next week on Laser Focus when my guests will be a different person or people. Goodbye. Laser Focus is a production of Nerdist Industries and Legendary Digital Networks. It was produced, edited, and hosted by me, Kyle Anderson. For more, visit Nerdist.com.